Hello, and welcome back to another video. So today I wanted to make a video talking about my top 5 favorite free-to-play MMOs for some people looking into them. This is just some gameplay in the background just to kind of have stuff going on. But I wanted to make a video about my top 10 favorite MMOs that are fully free-to-play. So number one of my favorites, it's been going on for a long time, honestly, but it is still one of my favorites. It holds up pretty well, other than it being pretty linear in like story and city building. It's all pretty streamlined and linear. But that is Wizard 101. Wizard 101 is, and I stand by it, a very good MMO that holds up through time. Because this MMO is still free to play. There are DLC areas and things like that, and I'm sure there's DLC classes, but it's good for new players. The card system in the game for battling works really well with the spells and things. You can get little pets and design your character. There's a bunch of different spell types you can have, and a bunch of different, what am I thinking of? Elements that you can control with your wizard. There's character customization like most MMOs, but it's more in depth than you would think. You can do things like your eyebrows and stuff like that. Most games you can't, I suppose. But this game, it holds up very good. I enjoy it. I think it's fun. Me and my friends played through it about a month or two ago. Still holds up. It's very well. There are some things that I feel like could be changed, such as like some of the DLC areas. I feel like because there's a lot of quests you'll get that will send you into these DLC areas, but you can't go there, so it'll wall you. So then you just have a bunch of quests piling up that you can't do because you don't have the DLC. But all right. So that's the first one. Next on our list, we have RuneScape. So RuneScape is probably one of the best MMOs of all times, or RPGs, whatever you want to call it. I think RuneScape is an insanely good MMO or RPG, depending on what you want to call it, I guess. But it's probably one of the best. It does everything right. The only, you got all your skills and things you need to level, and there's not, as far as I know, there's not really classes. It's just like what weapon you want to use changes your skill set or your move set. But outside of that, this game is really fun. It's more grindy than other MMOs, so if you're into a grindy game, then RuneScape will be the one you're looking for. But I'm not like super big into RuneScape, but it is fun for what I have played, so it makes it into my top 5. I would have had Terra here, but it got shut down about a year or two ago, so I can't, I don't want to add it to this list with it being shut down, so I threw RuneScape in instead. But yeah, that's about it for that one. Next on our list, we have DCUO. So DCUO, it's DC's take on an MMO. And DCUO, it has a lot going for it. There's a ton of customization. You can do, your race, your skin tone, your hair, eyelashes. You get to customize your entire suit. All your color palette, everything like that. And you can continue to customize throughout the game as you go, which is really cool. The story is nice. I think after level 30 is when you open up the end game stuff, quote unquote. And that's where things get a little more like interactive with other players. But up to level 30, you have a story. You play through one of each mentor has their own story, and I think the mentors for good guys are Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman, I think. And then for villains, it's Joker, Cersei, and Gorilla Grodd, I want to say. But you play through all three of those stories, so it doesn't matter too much who you start with, other than uh, it'll impact like where you start the game, basically. Outside of that, you will play all three stories, so it doesn't matter as much who you pick. But yeah, so that's that. There's a lot of classes in the game, or I guess power sets is what they're called, but like different elements like nature, fire, ice, water, sorcery, celestial powers, atomic, like all kinds of stuff you can be in that game. I've played through this game countless times, like probably I don't have enough fingers on one hand to count how many times I've beaten this game playing through it. It's so good. It's the one that I always go back to. Probably my favorite on this list, next to another one that'll come later. But yeah, that's about it for DCUO. Next one I'm gonna say is kind of like up in the air depending on who you are, but it's Lost Ark. Lost Ark is a I don't want to call it new, but it came out around the time of New World. Lost Ark is probably my second to third favorite MMO right now. It hits all the boxes for me. The only problems I have with the game is if you want to play with your friends, you guys have to play on the same servers. Like, or not servers, but like when you load up, it'll be a list of, well, yeah, I guess it's servers. And there'll be like, I don't know, one's called like Sarah and one's called Bradley. And like, say you pick Bradley, but your friend picks Sarah, you guys can't play together. So if, you know, you guys get pretty far and then want to play together, you'd have to make new characters, or, you know, one of you switch until you level up to match them. But outside of that, like, the game is fun, the combat's enjoyable because I think it's combo combat, sorta, kinda. And, there's a bunch of classes in the game. You can pick your, you know, your race. You've got, like, humans, elves. I want to say there's small fur people. But there's a bunch of races in the game you can pick from. And then there's also a bunch of classes. This is an old tier list, so take it with a grain of air. But there's a bunch of classes, and then each class, like I guess an example, there's a warrior class, but under the warrior, there's berserker, destroyer, paladin, so there's like, each class has subclasses, but you pick them at the start of the game, and there's a little testing range for you to try them all out, to, like, kind of get a feel for which one you like and things like that. But, yeah, Lost Ark's really fun. There's a lot of customization. I'd say more than some of the other ones that we've had so far, because this one's more of like a anime style, I guess. Air quotes on anime, but customization style, so there's a lot to it and a lot you can do with it. Like my character, for example, I picked a elf person, and they have butterfly wings for ears, but you could have like fin type ears, like webbed, kind of like a underwater seafaring person, I guess. Atlantean, that's the word I was looking for. You can have like webbed ears, or like some other characters can have horns and things like that. The only thing with, I think it's Lost Ark, has some of the classes are gender locked, so you can only play as certain ones if you're a female, or certain ones if you're a male, which kinda sucks, because it limits what you can do with those classes, I guess, because you have to play as this type of character. So, like, if you want to be an elf person, you can't play as a gunslinger, because that's locked to human females, or if you want to play as, like, I don't know, you get the idea. They're gender-locked classes, so some of them you can only be certain ones. Female Sharpshooter is the only one I remember off the top of my head as being gender-locked, because I wanted to play it, but I wanted to play as an elf person. So, I didn't get to play as that. But, yeah, that's about it for Lost Ark. It's pretty straightforward in the gameplay, very beginner-friendly. The story isn't too, like, it doesn't blast in your face, so it's like, you play through a tutorial, and then after that, it's kind of like, you're walking around, you're talking to people, you know, you're going to new locations. It's very, like, you can get into this story if you pay attention enough to it, I guess. Because if you don't pay attention, you can just, like, spam a button to skip through all the dialogue, so you don't have to listen to it. But it's probably one of my more liked MMOs, and the one that I've played a lot of as well, next to DCUO. But, yeah. That brings us to the next one on our list, and the final one on our list. And that is Guild Wars 2. This is one that I've picked up recently. I saw it on Steam about probably a week ago, to be honest, but it has easily skyrocketed into one of my favorite MMOs that I've played. It feels like World of Warcraft, but different. Like, it's different enough to be its own, and I like that. It's really good. Me and my friend got into it recently, and it's such a good game. Some of the things in it that, like, I'd say make it a good game are, there's 6 races you can pick from. Sorry for the low quality image. This is the only one I could find. I could have just screen grabbed it from the game, but you get 2 character slots, and I have characters made already, so. But you can play as I think it's wolf people, or tiger people, one of the two. And then you have humans, you have Norn, which are like a bigger, like, ice giant people, kind of. And there's the Asura, which are smaller, like, alien-looking people. And then there's these people, which I want to say they're the Sylvians, or Sylvans. But I thought they were elf people at first, but they're actually grass, like, plant people. These classes all have, you can pick male or female. Ton of customization in this game as well. But yeah, Guild Wars 2, there's also a bunch of classes. Here they are. There's Warrior. I want to say, here, let me zoom in so you guys can see this a little better. I didn't realize how small it was. Okay, it's getting smaller. Well, there's Warrior Guardian Revenant, which is one that you unlock later in the game or with a DLC. I don't remember which. Ranger, Thief. I don't remember what this one is. Oh, this is Engineer. Necromancer, Elementalist, and Mesmer. So these classes, uh, Guardian is like your paladin healer tank kind of thing, and then this one's Guardian, which is your just straight like melee tank. I haven't played Revenant because I don't have one of the DLCs that you need for it. Um, Ranger, you have a bow, or I think you can get daggers because every class can use a lot of weapons, and the weapons in this game change your skill set based on the weapons you're holding, which is really cool. But Ranger, you start off with a bow. I imagine you can get daggers, probably swords, even stuff like that. With Ranger, you get companions. So in the beginning, it lets you pick between, I want to say it's a bear, a wolf, and a like drake. I picked a drake, of course, because the drake was sick looking. But that class has a lot going on for it. The thief is more of like a stealthy, sneak around, kind of get backstabs character. The engineer is more of like a controlling character. Like you can create turrets and you have guns, which is really cool for a game set in this time period. Um, but there's a bunch of things you can do with that one, like buffing your team and giving attack speed, movement speed, like creating gadgets to help you guys out. Necromancer, you can do melee. It starts you off with a dagger, and then you can very quickly get a staff to continue on with your ranged attacking. But the ranged attacking, it'll give you like big AoE spells, and then the dagger will give you like close rapid attacks, or like an axe will give you different ones and such. Elementalist is my favorite one I've played so far in the game, because you can pick three at the beginning, and then as you level up, you'll unlock different elements, which I think it's 4 total elements. And you can control all 4 elements and have different powers, and like changing weapons changes your moveset. Once again, that's with all classes. And then the Mesmer is a like caster like Elementalist, but is an illusion-based caster. So like one of my favorite skills is like you'll do this little animation that looks like a parry almost. And if you take damage, 3 more of you will spawn in around the enemy, and you guys will go to town on the guy. But another thing I didn't mention with Guild Wars is, so you have weapons that change your skill sets, or not your skill sets, but like you'll have different abilities. Well, I guess it is skill sets. You'll have different abilities based on what weapon you're holding. So like if you have a staff, you'll have more ranged AoEs, but if you have a dagger, you'll have more like close range, quick attacking. But also they have in this game, where I have it bound to my middle mouse click, but you can have like a staff on my elementals. I guess I'll give you the best example. I have a staff in one hand, so I can cast big spells, and then when I click it, it'll switch weapons like on the fly kind of deals mid battle, and then I can do my close range faster attacks and like movement to get distance, switch back to my staff and go back to booming them. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed my list. I forgot that I had the gameplay up, or I would have gone back to that. Sorry. We'll just boop. And but yeah, I hope you enjoyed my list of top 5. They're all completely free to play. Some of them have DLCs, like Guild Wars has 2 DLCs, and I think that's about it. And then Wizard 101 has a few DLCs. I imagine RuneScape might. I'm not sure on RuneScape. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed my list of free to play MMOs. I hope you try them out for yourselves, and let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.